Hey guys, welcome back to the Not So Clueless podcast, hosted by yours truly, Ray. Oh, do you see what I did there? I didn't even do that on purpose. Period. Um, guys, thank you so much. I thought people would listen, obviously, hopefully, at least my friends and family, but just like hearing what you guys thought about the first episode, like it was just lovely. Like it was so nice. I don't even use the word lovely outside of work, but it was actually so lovely. Like it was just nice to hear from everyone. And the love. Actually, I haven't checked my YouTube comments in a while, but I know I got 20 listens on Spotify, period. I was expecting less, I'll be real. I didn't realize that so many people watch podcasts on YouTube rather than listen. So I did a poll on my Instagram and I was like, guys, how do you listen to podcasts? Do you like watch it or do you listen to it? And most people said they watch it. So I was like, oh shit. What I was planning to do was basically release the podcast on Spotify, and then when I had time, because I'm in a 9 to 5, stretched quite thin. When I had time, I was gonna edit the YouTube video and then release it after. But then when like 60% of people were like, I watch it, I was like, oh my god, let me edit it right now. So that's why there's very light editing on the YouTube video of my first podcast episode. But I kind of like it like that at the same time. Like I kind of like that I didn't go crazy with the editing. Like I think it's nice just the rawness of it, like adds to the ambiance of the podcast. And I just checked YouTube. Sabrina said, watch this while I ran on the treadmill. Love how calming your voice is. That's so lovely. No, that's so nice. Love that you're watching it in the gym, period. And then Rosanna said, love this, can't wait for the next episode. I'm set. So thanks guys for the comments. There was other comments, but I haven't replied to these two fresh new comments that I just saw. But yeah, like I'm really grateful for the support, especially for my first episode. So I'm like super excited for what's to come next with my podcast. And I just want to say as well, because I had a few questions about people wanting to speak on the pod. With that, I feel like the first good couple of episodes, I want to establish my personal brand and I want to chat on my own. And then eventually when it gets to the point of guests, I will have normal people as guests. I feel like a lot of podcasts have like influencers and stuff and people that are like super well seasoned and whatever. But I feel like because of the aim of the podcast and like getting people on to talk about their experiences would be so good to hear from people like just like you and I, rather than people that are in a different world. And it is a different world. I feel like a lot of people are out of touch with reality. But yeah, I do have a lot of interest in getting you guys on the podcast. Obviously, there will still be a process. Like it's not just like anyone and everyone can jump on the pod, because I feel like I don't want to dilute the brand. I don't want to dilute the overall message. But if you feel like the podcast aligns and you feel like you have something passionate you want to talk about, then I'm really open to it. I've put up a form on my website. Actually, have I launched the website? So guys, I bought the domain for Not So Clueless. Cool. I also found a free website that like hosts as a landing page. Like you can put links on a landing page. So I did that. So that's in the Not So Clueless pod Instagram bio. And there's a contact form on there, as well as links on how to listen. But you can just fill in your name, your email, and like the message is more so talking about a bit about who you are if I don't actually know you or I haven't met you yet, and speaking about just like a short summary of what you want to talk about, like what you're passionate about, why it's relevant to the pod. So obviously we're learning real life lessons, or we're talking about real life lessons throughout our 20s, and then just saying how you can add to that podcast episode and why you want to speak on that specifically. For example, if I was someone who wanted to jump on the pod and I wanted to speak about marketing, I would say, hi, my name is Rachel, I have this experience, I'm passionate about this, and I have this perspective on this topic. And then, yeah, kind of like that. So, like, if you guys can fill in the form, it makes my life easier because it's all in one place rather than in my messages. Shit gets lost in my messages, so it just makes it so much easier for me. And yeah, going into today's topic. So, today I wanted to speak on identity. And have I got the mic the right way? I think it is. Oh gosh, I hope it is. I should probably check. No, it is. The mic is the top. Okay, cool. Anyways, today's topic is about identity, and I haven't really thought of the title of the video, whereas my first episode, I already had the title. I just need to shape around the title. But I do know I want to speak about identity and how you identify yourself, and I want to go into how that shapes your experiences, and how to decide your identity, because I feel like, anyways, I'll chat more about that. But what brought on this episode, basically my sister was like, oh, you should ask ChatGPT this question. People asking ChatGPT this question. So the question is, based on all our conversations, give me a breakdown on what you think of me. Be fair, but you can be as harsh as possible while being honest. So that's why I asked ChatGPT. I wasn't expecting much. I was like, what does the flipping AI know about me? But mind you, I use AI a lot because I don't know, it's just helpful. I know it's a bit like, oh, guys, use critical thinking, but I do still, where I can, use my brain, because that's how your brain kind of expires, like when you stop using it. So I do still use my brain, but I do use AI quite a bit for different things. So I wasn't really expecting much. Like I thought it would like give like a generic thing, but I'm not gonna lie, it read me for filth. I was just like, okay. But I'll read through it because we have time. It's a pod episode. This is what I love about having a podcast. Like I don't have to cut things short. Um, but cool. It said my strengths. So number one, you have rare creative and strategic balance. You're both a creator and a thinker, someone who can write emotionally and strategically. Your writing stands out because it's sharp and instinctive, not overdone. You clearly get tone, voice, and audience, a skill that's hard to teach. So I think it got that from when I like plug in my written stuff and I tell it to like tweak it and make it better. Then number two, you care about growth and actually act on it. You're not one of these I want to improve people who stop at journaling about it. You create trackers, plans, and systems in faith, health, content, and finance, and follow through more often than not. You refine rather than restart, which shows emotional maturity. I'm like, oh, thanks. And then number three was you have emotional intelligence and discernment. This one's yes. I didn't even have to read the paragraph for this one, but I will. You think deeply before acting, especially about people and purpose. Your boundaries and reflections around friendships, commitments, and authenticity show you've done the work. You're not reactive, you're reflective. That's leadership energy and not follower energy. And then the fourth one was, wow, there's actually more than I thought. I'm still going to read them all. The fourth one was you've got main character energy, but it's earned. You're stylish, witty, and people naturally notice you. But what makes that power work is your intent. You use it to connect, inspire, and express. You've got influence potential, but you don't chase clout. You chase connection and meaning. That's me to a T. Like, I'm not too fussed about, obviously, eventually you want the numbers and, like, the recognition, the awards, the accolades, but it's not essentially what I'm chasing. What I'm chasing is like purpose and a bit deeper than that. And then the fifth one was you know how to switch tones and settings. You can write playful copy at your job at 10 a.m. and send a polished internal email by 10:05. That range is a professional superpower. It also reflects strong situational awareness. You know when to be on, when to pull back, and when to let personality show. And I feel like that's so true. Guys, like, I am myself at my job. I know like a lot of people mask at their jobs, but I feel like if I masked at my job, I would quit within a month. Like, I can't mask and try and land a job at the same time. So, like, the way I'm speaking now is the way I speak at work. And I told my colleagues I started a podcast, and they were like, oh, let us know if you want us to support. So yeah, like, I'm not that there's there's no line between my work and personal life, but in terms of my personality and who I am, there is no line really. I'd say the only part of me that I don't share at work is like jokes that I know they wouldn't understand. Like, jokes that I know you just have to be a certain type of person to understand, or like you have to be on a certain side of the internet to understand certain jokes. But yeah, anyways, this is where it gets real, like where it's like, bruh, it read me for filth. So it said that my blind spots and my challenges is I sometimes overcommit to proving I can do it all. Okay. It said you have this quiet pressure to keep up or show excellence across multiple areas in content, fitness, spirituality, work, and relationships. It's noble, but it's spreading your focus thin. You would go further faster if you dropped the 20% that drains you and doubled down on what compounds. And I was just like, I do try to do it all. I do. I genuinely do. And I know that that's not realistic as a human being in life. But I might as well try. Like, I don't know. Like, I just have a very like wild, big imagination, and I feel like I can do a lot of things. But then I get what it means by like I'm spreading myself thin. I am spreading myself thin. I'm aware of this, working on it. The second one was you can be perfectionistic in your self-evolution. Your drive to become the best version of yourself can slip into self-surveillance. You treat personal growth like a job sometimes. It's okay to be messy. Some of your most magnetic moments come from when you don't control the narrative. And again, like, I just don't know how to do that. Like, I just have dreams and goals. Like, what do you want me to do? I guess it's trying to tell me to embrace the wave of life and stuff. But if I can control something, I will try and control it, like, to get to where I want to go. But cool, no, I do hear what it says about treating work treating my life as a job. Like, I was about to start time blocking, guys. Like, it's getting bad. Cool. Next one. You underestimate how much people look up to you. You sometimes frame yourself as figuring it out when truthfully you're a few steps ahead of most people around you, especially in clarity, tone, and awareness. That humility is great, but it can make you underplay your influence. I hear this one as well because I do think I have a lot of identity around figuring it out when I've actually like figured quite a lot out. And perhaps I don't give myself the necessary credit. And I'll go more into this episode, which is what prompted this episode of like speaking about identity and how I see myself and how you guys see yourself as well. And then I'll read the fourth and fifth, but I won't read the paragraph for it just so we can move this along. But it says, I crave deep connection, but I protect myself from it. And the fifth one was, I'm my own harshest critic. So I was like, okay. not too much on me, but it was true. I would say there wasn't one point on there where I was like, that's not really true. But yeah, I was like shocked, and I was like, this would go great with my next podcast episode. I had already decided on this topic. But I want to speak about identity and how I first want to speak about how like seeing the way you see yourself shapes your experiences. I met someone recently and we spoke about our past a bit and who we are. And I noticed that I was saying, oh, like I've been through a lot. Like that's something I say a lot. And I think I even said it in my first podcast episode. That's the explanation I use for my tattoo. Like, it's what I carry as some sort of badge. But then I was thinking, like, where does that come from? And is that beneficial for me? And why do I feel the need to mention it in, like, every conversation? Like, it's good to know who you are, but I feel like it's good to check where you're placing your identity from time to time, and what that does to you and what that does to others' perception of you. Obviously, not to say I care so much about what people think, but to a degree, you need to care about what people think, because you can't do life alone, and you can't move through life. You can if you want to, but I would rather just not do life alone. I feel like at least the way my friends and family think of me is super important to me. I think it's healthy for someone's perception to be important to you, not like strangers or people that you don't care about, but to a degree, I do care what people think about me. And even when I introduce myself and I introduce my story, who I am, like, those things matter. Like, personal brand matters. It's the reason why you guys are here and you're watching my pod. Is like, I have some sort of personal brand, and so do you. Everyone has a personal brand, and it's so important to first know what you're telling yourself, and also what you're telling others about yourself. So yeah, for a long time, I've always said, like, I've been through a lot. I'm just someone who's been through a lot, and I have been through a lot. That is true. But I'm starting to think of, like, what is the benefit of mentioning that I've been through a lot to someone? How does that shape someone's perception of me in how they treat me moving forward? Because I've said I've been through a lot, does it mean that this person will subconsciously put more workload on me? Maybe it's like at work. Will they put more workload on me because they know I can handle pressure? Or will they treat me a little bit more rigorous, or like I'm on the front lines in a relationship because I've said that I've been through XYZ with whoever? And so I think it's like super important in that aspect, but also like to myself, and like, what is my identity outside of pain? And I guess that's where I'm at now, like turning my pain into purpose and doing something with it. I feel like because I've been through a lot of things, I can actually share valuable things. I went through a lot of things early. So, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, what's the goal here? I feel like in terms of the pain thing, I feel like it's helpful to mention that I've been through pain when it comes to helping others, because that will help others to relate to me or feel like they can go somewhere from where they are currently, right? But in terms of like normal conversations, like just meeting someone, why the hell do they need to know that I've been through hell and back? You know? And I want you guys to think about what labels you have on yourself as well, and like, who do you think you are? Do you think you're funny, creative, passionate? Do you think you're stubborn? Do you think you're a burden? Do you think you are sensitive or overly sensitive? Do you think you communicate too much to the point where people walk on eggshells around you? What is your story? Like, how do you identify you? And when you figure that out, it's really helpful, because then moving forward, you can really shape that into who you want to be rather than who you think you are. Because most of the time, the two are completely different. And if you believe in God, if you're a follower of Jesus, then you would know that God says who we are in the Bible, like in many, many passages in the Bible. And a lot of the times our mentality or who we think we are doesn't match that. So it would be super, super helpful to like check within yourself, check in with yourself, write down, like, even if it's just now, like grab a notepad and pen and like write down who you think you are. Like, What do you think are your strengths? What do you think are your weaknesses or blind spots? How do you think other people see you? That's a really important one as well, because how you think other people see you will also shape your experiences, because it's less about what they actually think about you and more so how you move around other people because of what you think they're thinking about you, if that makes sense. That was a mouthful, but I hope you caught on to that. But yeah, your internal story reflects your outer experience, and it's crazy because it's like something can be so true for you, but in reality it's not. For example, I'm just going to give a random example. Let's say you're someone who identifies as you're an anxious person and you have social anxiety. Let's go with that. So let's say you think to yourself, I am someone with social anxiety. I'm thinking of this on the spot. Let's say Person A believes that they have social anxiety and they believe they don't fit in anywhere. And I said social, and person A also believes that they are left out of things. They feel secluded from things. That is their truth. That's what person A believes. Cool. So person A walks into a room with people already there. They're not super familiar with everyone there. Person A looks over to person B and C and they're laughing. They look over as soon as like person A walks in, and then B and C look back at each other and continue talking and start laughing. So because person A thinks that they don't fit in anywhere and they're secluded, person A perceives the laughter as maybe something is wrong with the way they've walked, or the way they look, or the time that they came in. Maybe person A was 5 minutes late and they thought that it meant something to person B and C. But I hope you guys are trying to get what I'm saying here, because I'm waffling, bro. But I hope you get what I'm saying. I'm basically trying to say that your perception of things can really shape your reality. And for person A, their reality is that no matter what they do or how they present themselves, they will always be left out. And the problem with that is that when you do find people super similar to you, you won't even be able to recognize it because you're so focused on being the outsider. Like that doesn't have to be your whole identity if you don't want it to. If it benefits you, then sure. Like if you want to be the outsider, or the outside of the box different person, and you thrive in that space, then cool. But if it's from a place of anxiety in this example, then it's not beneficial to you, and you ought to do an audit on how you think about yourself and how you want to be identified moving forward, basically. Maybe moving forward, person A wants to be someone who is actually good at conversation, someone who fills the room when they step into a space, someone who connects with others through meaningful conversation, and just like, yeah, shaping like who you are, who you want to be. Like who you want to be is not that far away. It's basically what I'm trying to get at. And I wrote down here, you guys should find comfort in the fact that having confidence in your identity will put you exactly where you're meant to be. And I think, as an example, like people you look up to, they're in certain rooms, right? But they're in those rooms because they think they deserve to be in those rooms. Yes, they've accomplished certain things, but some people haven't. Like some people are in rooms and they actually haven't done much, but because they have the audacity, they think that they deserve it, and they identify with that space is why they're there. For example, let's say there's a content creator event and I decide to attend. I'm attending because I identify as a content creator. But if I just said, oh yeah, like I haven't hit 10K on TikTok yet, and I'm just a girl and I don't have any strategy, or like I don't create polished videos yet, or what else can I say? um or like, oh, because I have a 9 to 5, I'm not a full content creator, whatever it is. That would stop me from going to that event and possibly connecting with people who align with me and align with what I'm trying to chase in my personal goals. So yeah, like quite literally, you can wake up and decide that, yeah, today I actually am a writer. Today I am a content creator. Today I'm a podcast host. I don't know. I paint. I'm a painter. Like, and I give the vibes of like, if I had wheels, I'd be a bike. But essentially, yeah, like you can actually like just say today I am this person, and moving forward, you can continue to identify with that person by taking the action of someone who is in that position. So because I identify as a content creator, I'm not only going to make content, but also I'm going to add strategy behind it. I'm going to be consistent, have, I don't know, you guys get what I'm saying. Same with podcast, being a podcast host. I've only posted one episode, but if I said, oh yeah, because I've only posted one episode, I'm not officially a podcast host, then it's like at what point do you become the thing that you want to be? With my podcast, I actually had podcast host in my bio before I posted the episode. Yeah, it was like a day before, but you guys get what I'm trying to say, basically. And then I wanted to talk about rewriting your story, but I've touched a bit into that. But once you like identify how you identify yourself, it's important that you believe that you can actually be who you want to be. It goes into what I was talking about in my first episode when I was talking about your checking your belief system. This is like the root of everything, I swear. I always say this: check your belief system. Do you believe? Do you believe who you are? Do you believe you can be who you want to be? Like, let's say you have enough self-awareness to say that, okay, right now, I'm not actually a content creator because I haven't posted a piece of content, but I want to be a content creator. Do you believe that you can be that thing that you want to be, is what I'm trying to get at. And as you shape your beliefs, you shape your reality, and eventually you get to the point where you're doing that thing, you're identifying as that thing, and when you introduce yourself to people, you will identify as that as well. And what I love about telling people who you are, what you want to do, etc., is that people will be able to help you. Like when you're your authentic self and you communicate to people exactly what you're trying to do and your mission, people will help you now when because now I introduce myself, for example, as a content creator and a podcast host. Guess what? When an opportunity comes up and someone needs someone in that space, they're gonna think of me because I'm gonna be consistent. I'm showing up and I'm identifying as this person consistently. I'm having conversations privately as well about my vision and what I want from this moving forward. And guess what? They're going to have me in their subconscious. And when the opportunity comes, that's how you see like people, for example, the Guap Gala thing, the competition, and like people tagging who Guap should basically pick. Shout out to Tawa, by the way. I think her name is Tawalicious. She won the Guap Gala presenter thing. I didn't know much about it, but I did see it like on my For You page. But where was I going with this? Oh, I hate when I do that. Yeah, because like they know that she presents. If she didn't like identify as a presenter and she identified as some random girl that does like silly interviews on the street, then guess what? She's gonna get the opportunities at the level that she identifies herself as. But because she's presented herself as a presenter and someone who is well seasoned and has a lot of experience, even though I think she's been doing it for like a year, which is like a long but short amount of time. But because she identifies as these things, people pushed her forward for that opportunity. They thought of her, and when she posted her entries as well, people also reinforced that this is the right person for the role because look at her page, look at all the evidence. And that's the importance of identifying as what you want to be, because you need evidence for when the opportunity comes. It's not that the opportunity comes and then you start tweaking things. It doesn't work like that. Same with a job, for example. That's what a CV is for. Like, you list what you can do and then you fit into the role, like when the opportunity comes, rather than you saw a job and actually you haven't put together what you can do. It doesn't work like that. It's the other way around. So yeah, it's like super important to identify with who you want to be to get to where you want to go as well. And then I wanted to speak about how I rewrote my story. I feel like I haven't fully rewritten my story. Rewritten? That's a word, right? That's a word. Yeah, that's definitely a word. I haven't fully rewritten my story. I feel like I still identify as someone who has been through a lot of pain. And I'm just trying to figure out how that gonna benefit me. Like, does that benefit me? Truly. And I think it does benefit me in some spaces, but not all. And so I just want to do like a little audit or think about like how I'm really presenting myself and my personal brand and things like that. And then in terms of my own beliefs of myself, oh gosh, I'm working on it. All I can say is I'm working on it. Like, for example, at work, vulnerable moment, guys. Um, when I joined the role and everything, I just had this belief that I wasn't good enough for the role. Like, it just, wow. I actually found it a bit difficult to be vulnerable to my therapist, yeah, but like, to y'all, I don't know. But yeah, this is what this podcast is about, like real raw shit. So yeah, like for a long time, I believed that I wasn't good enough for the role, even though there was like 150 applications and somehow my name got to the top and somehow I got the job, which means that God has qualified me. So it's like, girl, side eye, because if God has qualified you, then who are you to say that you're not qualified? Cool, but at the same time, I knew that I didn't know a lot, that this is my first corporate role. I was very lost at points. I felt stupid to ask certain questions. I felt like everyone was well seasoned more than me, knew more than me, and was doing their own thing. And yeah, I just felt like not good enough. But then I had to be real. Like, I even have a clip on one of my SD cards, and I was just talking to the camera, and I was like, God has qualified me, so who am I to say? Blah, blah, blah. This is something I'm still actively working on. I think that I'm good at my job, but I know I could be excellent with certain things. I just don't have access to those certain things. So I'm just trying to find my middle ground of like being excellent, but also keeping my mental health intact, basically. Um, but yeah, that's like my pocket of, I guess, identity. That's something I'm still working on. I would say in relationships, I've defo gone away from what I used to identify as. I won't go too much into it because I feel like men do this thing where they watch you online and the things you do and try and shape themselves into like what they think you want. It doesn't even matter because like I have crazy discernment, so I'll sniff through the bullshit anyways. But if it helps me, then I would rather not like mention certain things. Should I mention that? No, that's a bit heavy. Like, not too much. I don't know y'all like that. Yeah, okay. Baby steps. When we're like a good few episodes deep, then we'll talk about relationships. But not today. But yeah, that's all I wanted to discuss on this episode. And what I want to leave with you guys is like, do that exercise of like how you identify yourself and look at what is beneficial and what is not beneficial in the way you identify yourself. And look at the way that your identity is shaping your experiences, or your perceived identity is shaping your experiences. If you are a Christian, look at the Bible and look at what God says about you and who God says you are. That's a great start because God thinks we're amazing and God is within us. So it kind of makes sense. Like, it all ties together if you actually read the Bible. um, But yeah, that's all I had in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys like my tracksuit as well. Like, I love this tracksuit. It's from Named Collective. So pretty and pink. I've accepted that my favorite color is pink. Like, I've just accepted it. Like, before I was in denial, I was like, yeah, pink is my favorite color at the moment. Because like I said, I've been through a lot. I identified with pain, and so like my favorite color was like black, basically. Like, I liked dark shit. Like, not in like a really spooky off the rails way, but in a like chill, like cool way. But now I'm like, pink is so like tea, like it's so me, because I feel like I'm like growing out of this like pain identity, whatever. And now I'm like sunshines and rainbows, but like I still remember where I came from, and that's why I'm so sunshines and rainbows, because I deserve it. Like, I've been through some. Anyways, like I said, look at me identifying with my pain again. We'll work on it. But yeah, that's all I want to say in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. This was the Not So Clueless podcast, brought to you by Ray, and I hope that you join me in my next episode.